विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रष्टाय भूतले श्रीमते राधानाथ स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रष्टाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्य देशतारिणे ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगगन रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सगगन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पदे गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विषमानुसूते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ईश्वरा परम कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिरादिर गोविंदा सर्व कारण कारणम। हरे कृष्ण। By Lord Sri Krishna's causeless mercy, we are nicely progressing in Bhagavad Gita. So today we are going to study in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So in our other sessions, daily we are studying one sloka every day from Monday to Friday evening, US time, and Tuesday to Saturday morning, India time. So we are in the 8th chapter now. But whereas in this today, there is Sunday morning India time and Saturday evening US time, we are in the second chapter and we study 4 slokas. So that way we finished up to 56 slokas in the second chapter, which has got 72 slokas. So today we are going to study the sloka numbers 57 to 60. So 57 to 60 in the second chapter. And these are all very important slokas because Krishna is answering Arjuna's one very important question, the first question. The first Arjuna is asking the question because in the very beginning, in the second chapter, in the 7th chapter, Arjuna is asking Krishna that I am utterly confused. I don't know what is right and what is wrong. And in this condition, I'm not able to decide whether to fight or not. So in this situation, I am asking you to help me. So Arjuna is asking Krishna that you please tell me what is good for me. Yasreyasya nishchitam bruhitan. So what is good for me? You please tell me. So at that point of time, Arjuna told Krishna that I'm not only your friend now, I am your disciple. I am your student. I completely submit myself unto you. Tvam prapannam. I surrender unto you. You please instruct me. Sadi mam, you please instruct me. So in that submissive condition, Arjuna asked Krishna to help him. Basically, Arjuna very clearly told Krishna, you tell me what is good for me. Yasreyasyan nishchitam bruhitanme. Nishchitam means certainly, definitely. You tell me for certain what is good for me. Because we know in the battlefield, Arjuna was in such a difficult situation that he has to kill his teacher Dronacharya and his grandfather Bhishma and all his cousins. And also it's not only that he has to kill them, but on his side also all his brothers, his son Abhimanyu and a lot of other his well-wishers and friends, everybody is there. So Arjuna is thinking that everyone's life is at risk. Because of that battle, that was a World War Zero, Mahabharata World War. Because of that World War, everyone is going to die because it's a World War. And Arjuna is in a helpless situation because he alone cannot stop that war. And it has come to that condition, situation that everybody have blown their conch shells, signaling that the war has started. So first it started with Bhishma. So Bhishma blew his conch shell. Tasya sanjanayan harsam kuruvraddaga pitamakaga simmanadam vinadyochaigi sankam tadmau pratapavan. So the blowing of conch shell by Bhishma was like a roaring lion, sounding like a roaring lion. Simmanadam vinadyochaigi. Not only that, even Arjuna himself blew the conch shell. Tatasvete khaye yukte mahatti syandane stitau madavaga pandavaschaiva divyau sankhau pradatmatuhu. While sitting in the chariot with white horses, so Madhava and Pandava, Krishna and Arjuna, they blew their divine conch shells. Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjayaga Poundram Tadmau Mahasankau Bhima Karma Virkodaraga. So Panchajanyam Rishikesho, Rishikesha, Lord Krishna, he blew the conch shell known as Panchajanyam. And Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjaya, Arjuna himself blew the conch shell, it is known as Devadattam. So like that, everybody, they've blown their conch shells, signaling that war has started. Then Arjuna is asking Krishna to take his chariot between both the armies. Senayor Ubayor Madhye Ratham Stapaya Me Achyuta. Oh Achyuta, please take my chariot between both the armies. Senayor Ubayor Madhye Ratham Stapaya Me Achyuta. Yavadetan Niriksheyaham Yodukaman Avasthitan. I want to see who are all there assembled here to fight. Niriksheyaham means I want to see. Yodukaman Avasthitan means desiring to fight. Assembled here. They are all assembled here. Kairmaya Sahayodavyam Asmin Ranas Samudyame. In this battle, I want to see with whom I must contend, with whom I must fight. Kairmaya Sahayodavyam. So that's what Arjuna told Krishna. You please show it to me. Krishna did that. Krishna took the chariot between both the armies. There Arjuna could see all kinds of relatives. Duryodhana couldn't see them as relatives, whereas Arjuna could see all of them as relatives. Tatra pasyan sitan partha pitrunata pitamahan acharyan matulan bratran putran pautran sakim stata swasuran sugurdaschaiva senayor ubayorapi. There, Pitrunata, Pitamahan, Pitrun, fathers, Pitamahan, grandfathers, Pitrunata, Pitamahan, Acharyan, Matulan, Bratran, Acharyan, teachers, Matulan, maternal uncles, Bratran, brothers. So, fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, Putran, Pautran, Sakim, Sata, sons, grandsons, Putran, Pautran, Sakim's friends, Swasuran, Sugurdas, Chaivan. So Swasuran, then his uncles. So Surdas Chaiva, his well-wishers. So like that, Arjuna could, basically Swasuran means father-in-laws. So Arjuna could see all kinds of relations in Senayor Ubayor. Senayor Ubayor means both Senayor, in both armies. So that was Arjuna's situation. He saw them, everyone as relatives. Then Arjuna immediately, he was overwhelmed with compassion and he started lamenting. And then he was telling Krishna that Drishvemam Swajanam Krishna Yuyutsam Samupastitam Sidanthi Mamakatrani Mukam Chaparisusyate Vepatuscha Sarire Me Romakasascha Jayate Gandivam Sramsate Hasta Tvakchaiva Paridahyate. O Krishna, by seeing all our kinsmen assembled here desiring to fight, Drishvemam Swajanam Krishna Yutsam Samupastitam. So my limbs are quivering. Sidanti Mamagatrani. My mouth is drying up. Mukam cha parisusyate. My whole body is trembling. Vepatuscha sarire me. And my hairs are standing on end. Romaharsascha jayate. And my bow, Kandiva, is slipping from my hands. Kandivam sramsate hastat. And my skin is burning. Tvachaiva paridakhyade. So that was Arjuna's situation in the battlefield after seeing all kinds of relatives in both the armies. So in this situation, Arjuna is totally helpless, as I said in the beginning. So Arjuna is completely helpless. He didn't want to fight, but he cannot stop the fight. So we understand very well Arjuna's situation, but we should also understand very well that our situation in this world is no better than Arjuna's. Because this material world. We are struggling. We are suffering. Only thing is that we don't recognize that fact. We don't understand. That is because of our ignorance. Because of our ignorance, we are not seeing that this birth, old age, disease, and death, they are all our problems. We need to realize. We need to realize that these are all our real problems, and we should try to solve this problem. Because everything is going to come to an end in our life, in everyone's life. We are going to lose everything. So, we need to understand that when Arjuna asked Krishna that I'm totally helpless, Krishna, now I don't know what is right and what is wrong. I don't know whether to win or to lose. Nachaitat vidmaha. Nachaitat vidmaha means I don't know. I don't know. Nachaitat vidmaha kataranno gariyo. I don't know what is good for me. I don't know what is the right thing to do for me, whether to win or to lose. Yadva yadivana jayayu, whether I should win or lose. That was Arjuna's situation in the battle. So in that condition, Arjuna submissively inquiring from Krishna that you please tell me, Krishna, what should I do? Please tell me what should I do now? I'm completely confused. Dharma sammuda chetaha. I don't know what is right and what is wrong. I don't know what is dharma. Dharma sammuta chetaha, because of my miserly weakness. Karpanya doso upakata swabhavaka. Dharma sammuta chetaha. Yastreyasya nishchitam bruvitanme. Sisyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. Karpanya doso upagata swabhavaga prichamitvam dharma sammuta chetana. Now I am asking you, please tell me what is good for me. So that's how this entire Bhagavad Gita Arjuna was actually getting from Krishna in the middle of the battle. And we are in this material world. Our life in this material world is temporary. Our life is miserable. As we studied yesterday in the 8th chapter, Krishna said that Mamupetya Punarjanma Dukkalayam Asaswatam. This material world is a Dukkalayam. It is Asaswatam. It's a miserable place. It's a temporary place. So in this temporary miserable place, you will not come back. If you come to me. Mamupetya. Mamupetya, if you come to me, then you will not come back to this temporary miserable world. Mamupetya Punarjanma Dukkalayam Asaswatam Napnuvanti. So that's why we should go to Krishna's well. So the goal of our life is to go to Krishna's well, Mamupetya. So we need to achieve Krishna. We need to reach Krishna's well. So for that, we need to use this life, this human life, which is very rare and very precious. And we should effectively utilize all the opportunities what we have got in this life only to reach Krishna's place. That's why Krishna's abode. That's what Param Gatim. So that is the supreme destination. So that's what we need to do. So Param Gatim Anamayam. Padam Gachanti Anamayam. Anamayam means there are no miseries. So Krishna's place is, there is no miseries. And it is Sukhasya Kantitasya cha. It is all the time happiest place. Whereas this material world is Dukkalayam. Whereas Krishna's world is Sukhasya Kantitasya cha. It is full of happiness. And it's permanent. It is Saswatam. So Krishna said Dukkalayam Asaswatam, this material world. But Krishna is saying about his world as Saswatam. Sarvakarmani api sada kurvano madvyapasrayaga matprasada tavapnoti saswatam. Matprasada tavapnoti saswatam padam avyayam. The permanent abode. So Saswatam Padam. So Krishna's place is the permanent place. So we should go there. That should be the goal of our life. All our time we should use effectively only to get out of this material realm. So how can we do that? So the first step, the very important step, is getting this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Because this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to act in such a way that we won't be bound to this material realm, and how to act in such a way that we will be liberated from this material realm. So this Bhagavad Gita knowledge only teaches us. So that's why studying Bhagavad Gita, understanding Bhagavad Gita, and following Bhagavad Gita is very, very important in our life. We need to effectively use this life only for that. So we are, of course, Krishna's mercy is there. That's why we are able to study every day Bhagavad Gita. We are able to make continuous progress in our efforts to understand Bhagavad Gita. And this Bhagavad Gita is very simple and very easy to understand. It's not very complicated. We go to college, we go to universities, do a lot of research and do a lot of complicated stuff, solve a lot of problems, complicated problems. And we spend hours and hours, days and days and years, and we spend all our efforts and our time to understand about this material world. But if we spend that much time to understand about ourselves, and then if we are able to free ourselves from this material bondage, then that's what we want in our life. Everyone wants to be happy. So the real happiness we can achieve only if we get out of this material world. So when Arjuna asked that question, then Krishna started teaching. We studied from this in the slokas from the 11th to 30th slokas, totally 20 slokas in the second chapter. Krishna very clearly, very, very scientifically explained that we are not the body, we are the soul. So the sole purpose of understanding, studying Bhagavad Gita is to understand that we are not the body, we are the soul. So the sole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to understand that we are the soul and to act with that knowledge. So in each and every activity, it should be done only with the consciousness, with the understanding that we are the soul. So if we analyze very carefully in this material world, all our activities are centered towards our body. Everything we do, everything we try to only take care of all the needs of our body, satisfy the needs of our body. So that way we actually spend all our time and efforts and everything only to take care of our body, which is going to ultimately be finished, which is going to, we are going to give up this body. We will be kicked out of this body. So that way we need to now take care of our soul. So for that, this Bhagavad Gita knowledge is very, very important. So that's why Krishna is teaching that in those 20 slokas, from the 11th to 30th sloka in the second chapter, very clearly, very scientifically, that we are not the body, we are the soul. No college or university is going to teach about that, because this knowledge is only given in Bhagavad Gita. And this is the king of knowledge. This is the most confidential knowledge. This is the purest knowledge. So Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam, Pavitram, Uttamam, this is the topmost knowledge. And it can be joyfully performed, and we can directly see our soul. We can directly perceive our soul. Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyayam. So this is the everlasting knowledge. So we have got this opportunity to study this Bhagavad Gita. And it is very easy, very simple, very, very easy to understand, very straightforward. There is no need for any interpretation on any sloka, on any words in Bhagavad Gita. Because Krishna is using the simplest language of Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, Krishna is using very simplest words to understand, to teach us. So that way, if we understand this Bhagavad Gita as it is fully, so then we will be able to liberate. So then Krishna taught us in the second chapter, from the sloka number 40 to 53, that the soul, we are not the body, we are the soul, but we are caged inside this body. We are stuck inside this body. We are bonded. We are glued to this body. And we need to free ourselves from this bondage only by working with intelligence. Krishna has used the word intelligence many, many times from those slokas. From the sloka number 40 to 53, Buddhi, 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 buddhi. Many times Krishna has used the word buddhi. Buddhi is intelligence. And how are we going to gain that buddhi? The only way we can gain buddhi, the only way we can gain intelligence is by connecting with Krishna. By realizing that Krishna is the super soul and Krishna is the Paramatma and Krishna is the supreme personality of God, and with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, then the only way we can gain intelligence is that tesam satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So those who are always engaged in my worship with love and devotion, that's why tesam satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam. I give the intelligence by which they can come to me. Dadami buddhi yogam. That's why Krishna is teaching here that Krishna is esate abhita sanke buddhi yogetu. Buddhi yogetu. Buddhi yogetu yamam shrunu. Buddhya yuktayaya partha karma bandham prakasyasi. So I give the intelligence. So buddhi yoga tvimam shrunu. Let me explain to you what is buddhi yoga. So by acting with intelligence, you will be liberated from the bondage to work. Karma bandham prakasyasi. Buddhi yoga tvimam shrunu. Buddhya yuktayaya partha. Karmajam buddhi yuktahi palam tyaktva manisinaga janmabandha vinirmuktaha padam gachanti anamaya. So if we act with intelligence, without any attachment to the results, so then we will be freed from the bondage to birth in this material bed, and then we will reach the destination where there are no more miseries. Padam gachanti anamaya. That's what is known as buddhi yoga. And how we are going to get that buddhi yoga? In the 10th chapter, 10th sloka, just now I explained, Krishna is saying very clearly, then tesam sadata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. So those who always worship me with love and devotion, so I will give them the intelligence by which they will come to me. That's what Krishna is saying. So that way, with this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we are going to gain the knowledge about not only that we are the soul and we are stuck in this material body, and we need to free ourselves from the karma bandha and janma bandha, bondage to work and bondage to birth in this way. But we will know very much about Krishna, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, and we will be able to love Krishna, fall in love with Krishna, and develop a deep, intimate relationship with Krishna, and do everything in each and every activity. We will be able to connect with Krishna, to please Krishna. So that way we will gain the intelligence, and by using that intelligence, we will be able to free ourselves from this material bondage. So that's what this Bhagavad Gita is about. So now, after Krishna explained about how to achieve that intelligence, so Krishna has used the word samadhi. Samadhi means when our intelligence has become very steady, very stable, when our mind is not at all disturbed. So that means we are not affected by whatever we have heard in the past, whatever we are going to hear in the future. So nothing should bother us. Sotavyasya sutasya cha. Tada gantasi nirvedam sotavyasya sutasya cha. So we should become indifferent to whatever we have heard and whatever we are going to hear. So that is what is known as Shruti Viprati. Shruti Viprati pannate yatastasyati nischala samadhav achala buddhi tada yogam avapsasi. So that is the way we can achieve this yoga. So then Arjuna is asking the first question in the 54th sloka in the second chapter. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha Arjuna uvacha Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya kesava sthitadi kim prabhaseta kim asita vrajeta kim. So what is the language of a person who has completely transcended, who has realized, self-realized completely? So what is the language? How does he speak? How does he sit and how does he walk? So sthitadi kim prabhaseta kim asita vrajeta kim. So that's why Krishna is now answering in the next 18 slokas, in which we have already studied 2 slokas. So in the next 18 slokas, Krishna is explaining the complete answer. It's like first 30 slokas, from 20 slokas in the second chapter 11 to 30 about the soul. Then from the sloka number 40 to 53, there is next 14 slokas about how to act with intelligence so that we can free ourselves from this material bondage. And then now in the next 18 slokas, Krishna is explaining about the symptoms of a self-realized person. So it's all very important. It's all full of science. If you understand this way, if we study again and again, read again and again, and understand everything, and simply fall in love with Krishna, simply follow the principles given in Bhagavad Gita, taught by Krishna, and fall in love with Krishna, then our life will be very, very blissful, wonderful. We will not suffer at all. Then nothing is going to bother us. So that's what is the situation we need to achieve. It is possible by Krishna's mercy. So immediately Krishna said, what we studied last week, Krishna said that Prajahati yada kaman sarvan pata manugatan atmanyeva sthita prajnagat tatochyate. So one who is able to give up all varieties of desires for sense gratification which arise from mental concoctions, which are all fabricated by mind. So mental concoctions, instead of trying to achieve happiness with the sense objects, if we are able to find happiness within ourselves, Atmanyevatmano tustaga sthita prajnaga tadochade. Then he is the sthita prajna. When we go to that kind of, when we are able to find happiness within ourselves, then as Krishna is saying that in the next sloka, what we studied last week, in the sloka number 56, Krishna is teaching us that Dukkesu anudvigna managa sukhesu vigadasprihaga vitaraga bayakrodaga sitadir muniruchyate. So one is not disturbed in mind when there is distress. Dukkesu anudvigna managa. And one is not elated when there is happiness. Sukhesu vigadasprihaga. And one is free from Vita, that means free from raga, bhaya, krodha, attachment, fear, and anger. So he is said to be a sage of steady mind. So now Krishna is continuing in the next sloka what we are studying today. In the sloka number 57, Krishna is teaching us that Yas sarvatra nabhisneha tattat prapya subha subham nabhinandati nadvesti tasya prajna pratistita. Yes, sarvatra anabhishnekha means one who is not affected, one who is not disturbed, that is without any affection. So one who is not affected. Yes, sarvatra anabhishnekha tattat prapya subha asubham. So when we get what we want, when we get what we don't want, subha and asubha, both good and bad results. That's what subha and asubha. So one should not be disturbed by the results. That is the main thing. So na abhinandadi, na dvesti. Abhinandadi means pricing. When we get what we want, we get pricing. And when we get what we don't want, then we are actually, we are dvesti. We don't like it, we hate it. So one should not be like that. Na abhinandadi, na dvesti, tasya prajna pratistita. So that's why Krishna is saying that even in the 5th chapter also we studied it. That is priyam prapya nodvijet prapya cha priyam. So in the 5th chapter Krishna is saying the same thing. So we should, when we priyam prapya means when we get what we want, and apriyam means when we get what we don't want. So that's what Krishna is teaching us in the 5th chapter also we studied. So yeah, na pragashet priyam prapya no dvijet prapya cha. Na pragarsyet priyam prapya. When we get what we want, we should not be enjoying too much. And no udvijadet, no cha priyam. So when we get what we don't want, we should not be agitated. No dvijet prapya cha priyam. Sthira buddhi asammodo brahmavid brahmani sthira. One should have sthira buddhi asammodo without any confusion. The same thing Krishna is teaching here that yes, sarvatra anabhishnegagam tattat prapya subha asubham na abhinandadi na dvesti tasya prajna pratistita. So his intelligence is very well situated, very well established. That's what tasya prajna pratistita. So for Arjuna's question, if you are able to find a person who is not disturbed at all, who is always same, so his prajna, his intelligence is very established. So now in the next sloka, Krishna is continuing there in the sloka number 58. Yada samharate chayam kurmanganiva sarvasaha indriyani indriyartebhyaha tasya prajna pratistitha. Yada samharate chayam kurma anganiva sarvasaha. Kurma is a tortoise and angani means its limbs. So when tortoise senses trouble, it immediately withdraws its limbs inside its shell. It withdraws its limbs into the shell. So similarly, we should be able to withdraw our senses from the sense objects. Indriyani, indriya artebhya. Indriya artha means the sense objects. Indriya means the senses. So that means one who is able to withdraw his senses from the sense objects, like the tortoise which withdraws its limbs inside the shell. So his prajna, tasya prajna pratisthita, his intelligence is very well established. So that's why tasya prajna pratisthita. So these are all the symptoms of a self-realized person. So if we are self-realized, we are going to achieve that definitely one day, all of us. Even though we may think that it's very difficult to control the mind, we are struggling, it seems very difficult, it seems impossible, there is no doubt about it. Arjuna himself told Krishna that, I don't think I can control my mind, it's very difficult. Yoyam yogas tvaya proktaga samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pranasyami na pasyami chanchalatva sthitim sthiram. So I don't see, na pasyami, I don't see that I can follow what you said. So it's very difficult. It is really true, but we are going to get there. There is no doubt about it, because the very reason we are studying this Bhagavad Gita, it's Krishna's causeless mercy. We are getting this knowledge. We are 1 in 1,000 who is getting this opportunity, who is not getting, who is using this opportunity. All thousands means everyone, every individual has got the opportunity to study Bhagavad Gita. But by statistics, the statistics says that, Krishna is saying that, Manusyanam sakasresu, only 1 in 1,000 yatati siddhaye. So is endeavoring for perfection. So we are endeavoring for perfection and we are going to get there. So that way, in the next sloka, Krishna is saying that in the sloka number 15. So as I was just now mentioning that it seems very difficult. It seems very difficult, but how is it going to be possible? When we get the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, what is going to happen? We are going to get attracted towards Krishna. Because when we get the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we know more and more about Krishna, and we understand that Krishna is our supreme refuge. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Krishna is the Gati. Krishna is the destination. Gatit Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasaga Saranam Sugut Prabhavaga Pralayaga Sthanam Nidanam Bijam Avyayam Pitagamasya Jagato Mata Tata Pitamagaga. So Krishna is everything. So when we understand that knowledge very well, then we are able to connect ourselves with Krishna. Remember Krishna, our mind is all the time is focusing on Krishna. Then it is definitely possible for us to withdraw our senses from the sense objects. It is definitely possible for us to forget about this material world. It is definitely possible for us to not get too much attached to this material, to give up all the attachments. It is very much possible. Only by that way, only by experiencing that higher taste, it is going to be possible. Not by any other ways. Because in this sloka number 59, Krishna is teaching us that it is possible by force, we can restrain our senses, we can control our senses. If somebody is interested in enjoying the sense objects, by force we can make that person not to enjoy. By force, we can tie the hands. We can tie the hands, so that way we cannot do that action, the material sense gratification, we cannot do that. So we can, by force it is possible, but that's not the right way. Because in the 3rd chapter also Krishna is teaching us that, so when we try to control karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasasmaran indriyarthan, when we try to control our senses, but if our mind focuses on the sense objects, so then midyacharaga sauchyati. So Krishna is saying that he is a pretender, he is a fool, vimuda. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasasmaran Indriyarthan vimudatman vidyacharaka sauchyate. So that way, the best way of giving up the attachment to this material world is not trying to give up by force. It is not going to happen. But if we experience a higher taste, then we are automatically going to lose the attachment to the lower taste, the cheap taste, inferior taste. So that's what Krishna is teaching here, that Visaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So rasavarjam rasopyasya. So even though rasavarjam, even though the taste is rasopyasya, even though the taste is there, but it is possible to give up the taste by force. Visaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaka. But param drishva means by experiencing a higher taste, we will be able to give up the attachment to the lower taste. So that higher taste is Krishna consciousness. So that's why we should not be worried, we should not be disturbed about anything in this material world. We need to simply focus ourselves on Krishna only. We should fix our mind on Krishna. We should focus our intelligence on Krishna. Mayeva mana adatsva mayi buddhim nivesayaka. Mayarpita manobuddhi mamevesisi asamsayaka. Like we studied in the 8th chapter, Krishna is teaching us that Ananya Chetaga Satatam Yomam Smarakti Nityasaga Tasyagam Sulabhaga Partha Nityayuktasya Yoginaga. So like that, 24/7, each and every moment, our life should be centered towards Krishna only. That's going to happen only if we have the complete knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And it's not just because we are having the knowledge. What is going to happen if we have this knowledge? Then immediately we are going to start sharing this knowledge with others. We are going to make many devotees. We are going to identify devotees and give them knowledge. So that way, if we are constantly engaged in serving Krishna by sharing, distributing this, spreading this message of Krishna, so then it is slowly we are going to get ourselves completely fixed in Krishna consciousness. So at that point of time, it is very easy for us to give up the attachment to the material sense enjoyment. It will automatically happen. We don't have to try for it. It just happens. So now we will finish with the next sloka. This sloka number 60. Krishna is teaching us that Yatato hyapi kaunteya purusasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramatini haranti prashabam manaka. Even a person who is knowledgeable person, who has the knowledge, so vipaschitaha means who has got the knowledge and who is endeavoring to control the senses, who is endeavoring to control the mind. Yatatohi kaunteya purusasya vipaschitaha. But the senses are so strong and impetuous that indriyani pramatini, they forcibly carry away the mind. Haranti prasabam manaka. So we need to understand that fact. So that's why it is very hard. It's very difficult. But it is not impossible. It is very much possible. So that's why we need to get this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is teaching us very clearly that the senses are very powerful and very strong, and they forcibly carry away the mind. So that's why our mind should be focused only on Krishna. Because the first thing with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita we should do is that focus our mind on Krishna. Fix our mind on Krishna. So that is chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and focus our mind on the transcendental sound vibration. Then over a period of time, our mind will not go anywhere. Our mind will just stick to this transcendental sound vibration. So this is the practical way of controlling our mind. So Krishna is teaching us very clearly in Bhagavad Gita about how to control our mind. So that way, by Krishna's mercy, when we follow all these things, even though the mind is so strong and impetuous, but it is possible for us to control the mind and bring it under the control of ourself. the mind and senses, we will be able to control. Just by studying the Bhagavad Gita itself, we will be able to control the senses. Shraddhavan labate jnanam tatparaga samyate indriyaga. Samyate. Samyate means controlling. Indriyaga means senses. So Shraddhavan, faithful person, will get the knowledge. So Shraddhavan labate jnanam tatparaga samyate indriyaga. Jnanam labdva param santim nachirena adhikachati. Once we get this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, then we are going to get the supreme peace of mind. Param santim adhikachati. So this one sloka itself, every line very clearly teaches us. So if we have faith, we are going to get this knowledge. We are all having faith. That's why we are studying Bhagavad Gita every day and we are getting this knowledge. And when we get this knowledge, we'll be able to focus our mind on Krishna. When we are able to focus our mind on Krishna, then we will be able to control our mind. When we are able to control our mind will become best friend. Then prasanta, then peace of mind. So jitatmanaga prasantasya paramatma samahitaga. Then we'll be able to control our senses. Our mind will be very stable and we will get peace of mind. So that's why jnanam labdva param santim nachirena adhikachati. When we get this knowledge, we are going to get the supreme peace of mind and happiness. Of course, Krishna taught us that asantasya kutas sukham. When there is no peace of mind, where from happiness comes. So we can get supreme peace of mind and we will be able to enjoy. So that is called real happiness. So that is called happiness. So by Krishna's causeless mercy, we have successfully finished 4 slokas today. For the slokas 57 to 60 in the second chapter. We have only 12 more slokas. That means 3 more weeks. We will finish the second chapter. Hare Krishna. And those who have joined for the first time today, I welcome all of you. And we are having this Bhagavad Gita class 6 days a week. That is for India time. It is Tuesday to Sunday morning 7:30 a.m. So Tuesday to Saturday we are studying in the right now in the 8th chapter 1 sloka every day, and Sunday we are studying in the 2nd chapter 4 slokas every week. So for those in US time zone, so it is in the Monday through Saturday evening 9 p.m. CST. Hare Krishna. I will stop now and I'll hand over to Siva Prabhu so that we can discuss if any questions are there. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Guruji. We will now move on to question and answers. So I have a question from Nitin Prabhu. The question is, he has 2 questions. The first question is, Lord Krishna could have stopped the war and could have found middle ground. Why didn't he do that?
Yes, Prabhu. Krishna in fact tried to stop the war. But the problem is that because of Duryodhana was not listening. Even Krishna went as a messenger to stop the war. But that's what happens. The same question applies. We can simply say that Krishna would have made everyone devotees. Why this material world is needed? Why should we suffer here? Krishna can just make everyone as devotees and chant Hare Krishna and control their mind and go to Krishna. Can Krishna do that? No, Krishna cannot do that. He is the supreme personality of Godhead, but he doesn't have that capacity to do that. Because what is needed to go to Krishna, what is needed to give up the attachment to this material world is love on Krishna, love upon Krishna. We need to start loving Krishna. That love cannot be forced on anyone. The one thing which we are having, every individual is having, is the free will. So that free will, Krishna cannot influence. Krishna cannot do anything. So he can only try to help us. He can only give us the opportunities. So that's what is the main thing. That's why Krishna is saying that I am equal to everyone. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. But whoever worships me, he lives in me, I live in them. So samogam sarvabhutesu name dveshu asti na priyaga ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mayite tesu chapyam. So that way, this is the unfortunate truth that if we are not ready to submit ourselves lovingly to Krishna, if we are not able to get that love towards Krishna, that bhakti means love, priya, priyosimi. So Krishna is becoming dearer to Krishna. So that only if that comes, then only we will listen to Krishna. So like that way, there Krishna was trying by all means to stop the war. But Duryodhana was not listening. And what is Krishna's mission? Somebody is not listening, but he doesn't wait. Krishna is not just watching his devotees to suffer. So Arjuna is listening to Krishna. So Krishna is now helping Arjuna to win. So that's what is happening. So Krishna's goal, Krishna is coming here to this world because to establish dharma. What is the meaning of dharma? Dharma means righteousness. So here Krishna is saying that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamyagam. So whenever there is a decline in dharma, decline in righteousness, whenever there is a predominant rise of this adharma, so at that point of time I discern myself. That's why Krishna appeared here. So Yuga, at the end of Kali, at the end of Dwapara Yuga, Krishna came here. And that way Krishna tried to stop, and then he knows that Duryodhana, because of his nature, because of his swabhava, his lobha, his greed, because of his greediness, he is not listening to anyone. So that's what happens in this material world. Even now also, good people are suffering because of the bad people, because of the demons. They try to, because of their lobha, their greediness, they make everyone to suffer in this world. In fact, in this world, Krishna has supplied all the necessities for everyone. But why still there are people who are just dying out of hunger? Why not everybody is not able to get simply their day, or at least their meals? That's very bad thing, very bad situation. Krishna is creating everything. Krishna has given everything to us. So it is because of the greediness of the demons. So that way, Duryodhana was a demon and he was very much greedy. And so that's why Krishna is now not able to stop the war. So Hare Krishna, I hope you understood. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Guruji. The next question is from Ashok Kumar Pamulapati. He asks, why did Krishna take the Gandhari shape after ending the Mahabharata war?
What's it, Prabhu? Gandhari shape?
Why
Okay, about the Mahabharata, yeah. Hare Krishna, I'm sorry, Prabhu, sorry for my ignorance, because I am very much, if anything, within this 18 chapter, 700 slokas, I'll be able to immediately answer your questions. But this particular question, I will try to get back with you, Prabhu, soon, because I myself have to research on this. Because Mahabharata is 100,000 verses. So it's 1 lakh, 100,000 verses. But Bhagavad Gita is 700 verses. It's a part of Mahabharata. So my knowledge is limited only to this 18 chapters, and they too because of I can't even read Sanskrit. So this Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srila Prabhupada's mercy. So we are able to understand this Bhagavad Gita. So at this point of time, I'm not able to answer your question, but definitely I will try to find out and get back with you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Guruji. There is one more question from Nitin. He has asked, happiness and sadness are bodily feeling or soul feelings?
Excellent question, Prabhu. Thank you for asking. Krishna is saying that in the 13th chapter, Karya Karana Kartrutve Hetuhu Prakriti Uchyate Purushaka Sukha Dukkhanam Bhoktrutve Hetuhu Uchyate. So what we understand from Bhagavad Gita, that we are not creating any activity and we are not doing any activity. You need to understand here, creating and doing, making and doing. So the activities are created by Prakriti and the activities are done by Prakriti. That's why Karya Karana means the cause for the activity, not the cause for performing the cause for the activity. Karya Karana Kartrutve. Kartrutve means it's created. So the cause for the activities is Prakriti. Hetu Prakriti Rucha. So, and we are simply the enjoyer or sufferer. Purushaka Sukha Dukkana Bhoktrutve Hetu Uchyate. So, Naivatasya Kritenato Na Kriteneka Kaschana. So, we are, once we liberate ourselves from this material world, we will become free. And then in another sloka in 5th chapter also Krishna is saying is that, so everything is created by Swabhavam. So in the 5th chapter Krishna is also also saying very clearly that everything is there created and performed. Everything is by the swabhava. Swabhava means it is our again it's prakriti. So again it's because of the prakriti only is doing everything. So we are not swabhavastu pravartate. That's what Krishna is saying, that swabhavastu pravartate. So in the fifth chapter, Krishna is teaching us, na kartrutvam, na kartrutvam, na kartrutvam, na karmani lokasya srajati prabhu. So we are not doing anything, we are not creating anything, na kartrutvam, na karmani lokasya srajati prabhu. Na karma pala samyogam. And we are not even creating the results of the activities. So everything is swabhavam. Swabhavam means again it's the prakriti, the three modes of material nature. So that's why karya karana kartrutve hetugu prakriti ruchyate. But purushaga sukha dukkana bhoktrutve hetugu uchyate. So purushaga is the soul. The soul is the cause for the happiness and distress enjoyed by the soul or suffered by the soul. So that's why the reason for our enjoyment or suffering is that Purushaga prakritisto hi bhunto prakriti jan gunan karanam gunasangosya saddha sadyoni janmasu. So Purushaga being situated in this prakriti, so Purushaga prakritisto hi bhunte prakriti jan gunan is trying to enjoy under the control of the three modes of material nature, because the karanam, the cause is that we are associating ourselves with the three modes of material nature because of our attachment to the material sense objects. That's why karanam guna sangosya saddha satyoni janmasu. So good and bad results. So happiness and distress. So we are experiencing in this way because of our attachment. So that's what is happening. So that way we are the cause for our suffering and enjoyment. The soul is experiencing the happiness and distress, whereas the activities are all carried out by the prakriti. The activities are created by prakriti and carried out by prakriti. As soon as we realize this fact that we are not the doer, then we don't claim for any results. So only if we are the doer, then we can go and claim for the results. So when we are not the doer, so then we should not be attached to the results. We should not be disturbed by the results, because we are not doing anything. We are not the cause for the results. So if that happens, then we will be freed from the three modes of material nature. We will be able to dissociate ourselves from the three modes of material nature. So then we will not be forced to suffer in this material realm. Then it's full enjoyment, full happiness. That is called inner happiness, happiness within ourselves. So you understand that, Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Guruji.
Just 1 second, Prabhu. I'm just coming 1 second. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
There is a devotee, Deepti Bakshi. I think she has joined for the first time. She has a question. I will unmute her so that she can ask the question herself and introduce you to you, Guruji.
Okay.
Deepti, I'm unmuting you. You can talk to Guruji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Today is my first day joining this class, so I wanted to know how to begin learning Bhagavad Gita. As you said, we have to practice it, and since beginning, I'm just beginning. Should I start reading sloka by sloka, and whatever I missed earlier classes? Is there any